Welcome to Peculiar Paths to Peace, where some find it kooky, others find relief. I'm Adam Freilich, and this is episode 5, entitled Nature Therapy. Before we get started on this new episode, let's quickly review the previous episode entitled Rainbow Therapy. In that episode, we discussed how colors can potentially have an emotional and physical effect on us, and that perhaps we can use that to our advantage. If you missed that episode, I'll have a link to it in the show notes. Don't forget, you can also connect with me at Peculiar Paths to Peace on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. You can also email me at peculiarpathstopeace@gmail.com. But let's get back to today's episode, Nature Therapy. This episode may truly line up with our tagline of where some find it kooky, others find relief. Stick with me because this is going to be a fascinating episode. There are two things that we're going to discuss today. The first thing on the list is called earthing, sometimes referred to as grounding. Earthing is about literally putting your bare feet, and if you want, your hands, on the ground for at least 30 minutes. It's not to be one with the earth. It's about positive and negative electrical currents. Your body has a lot of electrical activity happening inside of you. Your heart, your muscles, nervous system, immune system, just to name a few. Your body builds up a lot of positive charges throughout the day, and these need to be balanced with negative charges so that you're in a more neutral state. If you don't have a yard or can't go somewhere safely where you can walk around barefoot, there are some solutions. There's earthing mats, shoes, socks, even blankets. All of these plug in or run on some sort of battery source and helps ground you by creating negative ions to counteract your positive ones. Now, while this does sound kooky, there's quite a few research articles and publications about this, and more are currently happening. Most of the research projects focus on using earthing equipment like mats and bed sheets. This is because when you conduct research, you have your experimental group and you have your control group. The control group think that they're actively part of the research, and they are, but they're just not getting the treatment. But they don't know this. So these earthing research projects, the control group is given a device that doesn't work, but they think it does. Some of the research projects allowed for 30 minutes of earthing, while others allowed for 60 minutes. Here's a little bullet point list of some of the results. Statistically significant mood improvement, improved immune responses for wounds and inflammation, decreased pain and muscle stiffness, lower cortisol levels with reduced stress, anxiety, and irritability, improved blood circulation, improved sleep, and this is an interesting one, especially if you have or are at risk for cardiovascular issues. Earthing seems to increase the surface charge on red blood cells, which reduces blood viscosity and clumping. All this kind of means that earthing appears to be a very simple but profound intervention for reducing cardiovascular risk and cardiovascular events. Side note for this cardiovascular study, the participants did earthing for 2 hours. So the takeaway from this, you need to get your feet dirty. Not really, but really. If you're interested in this, try sitting outside for 30 minutes with the soles of your bare feet touching the ground. Or if you have the space or place, try walking barefoot for 30 minutes. There's even some people that say to lie naked on the ground. Have fun with that one. If doing it the natural way isn't an option for you, maybe you live in an apartment, then maybe look into getting an earthing device, like a mat, to try out. I'll have a link in the show notes to a company that sells earthing devices, and no, I am not affiliated with them, so I'm not getting any money from them if you purchase anything. One more note on earthing. There is a few researchers that are looking at if you can get the same results from water via lakes and oceans, water that is touching the ground. Let's move to our second topic today, forest bathing. Forest bathing is literally walking in a forest for 1 to 2 hours. This has been a really big trend in Japan for years, like since 1990. You're supposed to connect with the forest by walking aimlessly and slowly through a forest and connecting with the forest through your 5 senses. Listen to the birds singing and the breeze rustling in the leaves of the trees. Look at the different greens of the trees and the plants and the sunlight filtering through the branches. Smell the fragrance of the forest and breathe in the natural aromatherapy. Taste the freshness of the air when you're taking a deep breath. And place your hands on the trunk of a tree or dip your fingers or toes in a stream. Even lie on the ground. There's some research specifically regarding phyticides produced from plants. When you're in nature, you inhale these, and somehow they have an effect on you, and specifically, somehow improve your white blood cells in the immune system. Quote, unquote, killer cells. It also seems to improve your mood by reducing your stress, anxiety, and reducing ruminating on negative thoughts and things. I know I always feel relaxed after taking a stroll through the forest. Unless I come across a snake. That's when I learn just how fast I can run. Of note, attention levels improved after forest bathing, cortisol levels decreased, blood pressure levels decreased, and depression levels decreased too. Remember, if you want to try forest bathing, the key is to not have an agenda. Walk around truly experiencing the forest. If something catches your eye, then go explore it. If you can't get outside, don't have a forest nearby, or think that you don't have the time, I'm going to have some YouTube forest walk links below. Now, you won't be doing a real forest bathing experience, but it does virtually get you into nature. And I kind of find them calming. Although not exactly related to forest bathing experiences, I'm also going to link one of my favorite Hawaii flyover videos that I just love and I find so relaxing. I'm also going to put a link to my favorite website that plays different nature noises. My favorite is to combine the birds chirping with the wind chimes. The website is noises.online. That's all for this episode. Hopefully you can get more grounded and have a good forest bath soon. You can connect with me at Peculiar Paths to Peace on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. And you can also email me at peculiarpathstopeace@gmail.com. Until next time, be peculiar and love yourself.